One used uranium, one used plutonium. And what they did, they made a big shell all out of explosives. And to make a thermonuclear bomb go off, you have to ignite all the explosive parts at the same time, so it puts big pressure on uranium or plutonium in the middle, and that causes the thermonuclear explosion, a big one. Now, the secret is you have to do all this within 1/130th of a second. And if you don't, it won't work. Now today, they're talking about terrorists and their nuclear bombs. It's not one of these. There's 10 countries on Earth that can make one of these, and they're not working for the moment, most of them, because the US is sitting on the information. Fortunately, we have Iranians to provide the information for everybody else. But what they're talking about is taking like all the nuclear material that are used in X-rays, like in the dentist's office, break into 30 dentist's office, put them on a bomb, blow it up, and spread nuclear material, 5 blocks around town. That's the terrorist type bomb. And you could theoretically be exposed to radiation that way. But nobody seems to be making these yet because it's hard to get their hands on the stuff and it's self-infected. Well, at Los Alamos, people were snuck in to work in the bomb, including the Germans who had surrendered to the Americans in World War II, the German scientists. The German bomb wouldn't work because they had the wrong technology. It never would work, but they didn't know that. So you have all these Germans at the end of World War II, or during World War II, talked to the American scientists about making big bombs. A little weird, to say the least. In March 1945, they got a bomb out there, put it on a big tower, and wondering if it would work. So what did they do? They put it on the tower, and the scientists were sitting there, well, maybe it'll blow up 100 miles around us, and they were 8 miles away from the bomb. Or maybe it would catch the atmosphere on fire and blow up the entire world. What do you think we ought to do? And they hoed and they hummed. I said, well, let's try it anyway. If it does blow up the world, nobody will suffer, nobody will know the difference, right? Don't you love these scientists? Back at the University of Chicago, the scientists got together and formed a petition and sent to the president, don't use the bomb at all. It's going to be terrible. So, in New Mexico, they go and they try to blow up the bomb. And guess what? It works. We put it up on the tower, all this lightning storm came through and kept missing it. And they blew it up. And it was seen 300 miles away, which you'd think would be impossible. But had a huge, you've seen the thing, and they knew it worked. So they're ready to send the other two off to Japan. What do I mean the other two? They only had 2 left. And the plan was this. Let's bomb military targets and scare the military into surrender. So the first place was Hiroshima. Hiroshima, in the southern part of Japan, was the naval headquarters for the Southern Pacific Fleet, not much of which was left. But it was a legitimate military target because they had factories there and the command structure was there. So they put the bombs on the USS Indianapolis, take it out to Tinian Island, which is in bombing range of Japan. And they go and unload the bombs. The Indianapolis sails out of the harbor and is sunk by torpedoes, just out of the sight of land. And you know what? They couldn't even get off a radio call because people were 5 days in the water and nobody knew it was sunk. Most of them died. And the captain survived, saved everybody, ended up committing suicide. The Indianapolis is a really hairy story. So every day on takeoff, for the last previous 5 days, a bomber had crashed, taking off from Tinian. Why? There were crosswinds, the runway was made out of mud, and they had this huge bomb hanging out from the bottom of the plane with about this much between the bomb and the runway. And they're shooting down the runway at 150 miles an hour, and the plane's bouncing like this. With 3 inches to spare, they get into the air. So they send 3 planes. One is a weather plane that goes ahead to make sure the weather's right. It's really important when you're bombing, you have to know where the winds are going. Then there's the Enola Gay, which was, I should share the story here, shouldn't I?
Mm-hmm. Question. So why didn't they actually show a video showing us bombing Hiroshima? Like at the beginning of class? Because the whole process only took like 5 minutes or what?
The third plane was the media plane. And they had all sorts of sophisticated cameras and radiation detectors on the third plane that followed 2 minutes after the bombing. And guess what? They let the bomb go, it blew up over Hiroshima, sent out electric pulse, and knocked the media plane out. Not one camera on the media plane would work because they're all electric. But a guy on the Enola Gay, which is the bomb plane, he had a Brownie 8mm movie camera that you wind up by hand, and that's the picture we have, the only picture we have of Hiroshima, the unofficial one. And no sound. No sound for all 3 bombs. You never hear them.
Oh, it's 3 bombs?
Yes.
What was
that
the
was
third?
August 6, 1945. And
What was the third bomb?
well, hang on, let me tell the story. The plan was this would save lives if they surrendered, and the Soviets were about to enter the war against Japan, and they didn't want them to do that. And Enola Gay, there's a plane, Bush has some problem with Enola. I found this on the internet, I don't know what it means. That's, is that Ronald Reagan when they killed? Oh, I hope not. There's a plane, it's a hell of a plane, and here's the attack.
Cowboys. That's where it goes to.
The result is, it blew up over this bridge about 300 feet. They said, wanted to drink or something, it wouldn't blow up much. The picture. Now, they said 2 days later, they're going to attack another place, and it was an alternate. It was Nagasaki, down in the South Island, and they blew it. The winds weren't right, and instead of dropping it on downtown Nagasaki, they dropped it on the American POW camp, which means that more American soldiers were killed in the second bombing than Japanese soldiers.
Oh, wow.
There were virtually no soldiers down in Nagasaki. And then they let it be known that on the 10th, or around the 10th, the next target would be Tokyo. Now, the Japanese got down there just in time to see what was going on, and they couldn't believe this sight. But when they hit Nagasaki, they realized something was up. But something was up. There was no bomb to drop on Tokyo. And on the 10th, they started negotiations through the Swiss consulate saying that, well, are you interested in stopping? And the Japanese said yes. The emperor decided that it was time to stop the war, especially since his house was on the next coast.
Did he kill himself?
They couldn't get another bomb ready for 8 weeks. And guess what? They never did get another bomb ready because the emperor went on the radio and gave an interesting speech. He had never been on the radio in his life. Nobody had ever heard him talk on the radio. And he says, like, there's a storm coming, and it will seem to be unendurable. but we will endure the storm and prevail.